boys, welcome back to Scrap Offroad. I haven't been killed, I haven't been locked up yet. Probably should be, but fuck them. It's been brought to my attention that allegedly we ain't had a video out for a while, so I'm going to try and fiddle fuck around, and it's now getting on late already, and I've got to go back to work as yet, and I've still got things I'm doing here, so I'm going to carry on with these for a bit. Now, before we properly get started, I've got to finish grinding these eyes down because they don't quite fit in the recess of the bumper there, flush, so the top plate will go on. So I've just got to take a bit more off them, but I don't think this vice is going to be here much longer. I've got a new second-hand one over there in the corner somewhere, because this one's got dementia. It forgets that it's tight. And you're all going to be thinking it's an inanimate object, just crank her up and she'll be grand. No, you crank the motherfucker up and then you start grinding, and it forgets that it's tight and drops the piece you're trying to grind on. But I have found one method of overcoming the issue. You know, how tight? I'll say when it's fucking tight. No, I will weld you in place if you keep being a bell end. I'll hit it in a minute. That's tight. That ain't going no fucking where. So now we can get to grundings, and then I'll be back and we'll be making things worse than they currently are, because I'm good at that. So, that's another... Are you looking at me? That's another evening in the shed, boys. Oh, there's a humbug. We give up. Hang on. So I'll try again, because humbug turned up. It's another night in the shed, and I'm making the bed. You know, don't zoom in too closely on the welds because most of them are shite, but they've passed the hammer test, so that's good enough. We've got the old pins in here for the poles that's going up in this area, and we've got the toe point on the back, and we've got some little round ligatures that goes in there, like that, just like that. Not like that, like that. Mint. So, next step, you know, is to probably remove the bed to finish welding. Then I've got to build some kind of a tower in this area to come up for that to bolt to and everything to tie into, and, you know, 45 the corners and wrap them and stuff. But we've got some gussets in there and in various locations. So she's fucking minty, and it's even nearly level. So I'm going to have to try and twist it somehow to make it unlevel, and then it will suit the truck better. Fucking mint. So boys, it's yet another night, but this is probably going to be edited so it's all one video with bits and pieces. But the flatbed, not mounted currently, it's upside down laying on there because I've just finished welding the majority of it, well, all the underside at least, and I'll give it a quick blast with some old weld through primer just to stop the rustalizations. I have made a misjudgment because I've got this receiver hitch winch cradle. I want to go on the back on the receiver hitch, but I bought this heavy duty NATO style hitch here, goes that way up, that I was going to mount on there. Unfortunately, well, as you can see, I was going to mount it in that channel, but it's not going to work with this on here. So I had a bit of thinking, and I thought I could mount it higher up, but if I mount it up there, I want the winch to pull out through the back where that currently is there. So I had a bit of a rethink, and I figure this is going to be on the front quite a bit anyway, as a front winch. So I've had a measure up, and I found some box section that fits loosely-ish in there. It's the same size as this bit, so it's got, you know, all of the slot. I am going to modify that so it's not sloppy, because I don't like that. That makes me scared when I see things that just kind of. So what I'm going to do, I've got this piece of box section here, thick wall box section. I'm going to put a plate on one end of it. This will mount onto on there, something similar to that. You know, rather than just trying to weld cast to steel, I'm going to do it so it bolts, and then that will slot in there, and it can be slotted in the front when I've got a receiver hitch up front on the old rig as well. So it'll make it a little bit more universal, which is fucking minty. Also, more importantly, it's beer o'clock. Well, it's actually a little bit past beer o'clock, so I'm on the beer. And that's kind of the plan for right now, because ADHD tells me that rather than finishing the part of the project that I've started, I should abandon it now I'm part way through it and start on another part that was unfinished from before when I abandoned that to do a different part. You know, so it all makes sense. So I'm going to crack on. I might take a few pictures as I go and show you some of the methodology that I'm using to do it. Also, MIG welder's in denial at the minute, so I've done most of the welding on that with my little buzz box, which is down there. She's fucking tiny, but I tell you, she runs a nice bead. She does run a nice bead. Another thing is that this is now an agricultural machine, and I know people are going to question that, so here it is. That upright there, and that one there, in there, well, they're parts of a chassis rail from old Fordson Dexter or Major or something along those lines, and also the reinforcement plates for the last 3 foot of the chassis are also vintage Fordson chassis rails. So if anyone was extra desperate for Fordson chassis rails, I'm sorry, but I've cut 2 sets up now. Yeah, I like recycling. I ain't got nothing that fits. They're laying around in the yard. They're only going to end up in the scrap bin. Might as well chop them in and be useful. Also, that one there was already repurposed as a tow bar, and I've cut it up now. But it's actually got on it somewhere Fordson stamped into it, which is fucking minty. That don't matter now, but maybe we can register the rig as a tractor. Because, well, for you American viewers who don't know, if we register it as a tractor, we can run red diesel, which is cheaper, and we don't have to tax or MOT it. No, government definitely ain't going to wear that one, are they? Wankers. So I'll see you in a bit when this is a little bit more, less how it is and more with that mounted. Well, I've done some fiddle fucking and fucked a few fiddles, and I cut. That's that old tow bar that's built out of a chassis rail. I cut this piece off it, and there was a thick old piece of plate on there that I cut off and ground back, and the bolt holes in that bit of plate there line up for that hitch. And then I put a bevel on this piece of box section all the way around the end of it at, I don't know how many degrees, but it was well beveled, and there are 6 passes round each side of it. I was going to gusset it, but I've had a look on eBay at some of the Chinesian ones you can buy, and they're not gusseted. And I can guarantee the weld on there is stronger than any kid in China is going to produce. So I think we'll fucking go with it for now. And if I manage to break it, which, let's face it, it's me, I probably will. If I manage to break it, I'll build a stronger one. And before anyone starts getting worried about this being used for towing and that bit disconnected and that coming off and going through somebody's window screen, I'm not a fucking idiot. I do safety test things. So when this rig is all together and built, I'm going to put a strap off each recovery point in turn around a very big fucking tree with a hard strap, not a soft, not a terra firma red rope, nothing like that that's got any spring into it, a hard strap or maybe even a chain. And then I'm going to fucking launch her just to test whether parts are going to break off. And if parts don't break off and there's no sign of fatigue in anything, that must mean I've built it right, and it'll be more than safe enough to drag rotten piles of Discovery out of bog holes that rotten piles of Discovery like getting in. So there'll be that, and she'll be fucking mint, boys. So I'm going to go and crack on and, well, I've run out. So I've got to go and find more of that. Might have to go on a beer run. BEERRUN, boy. You know, all the way. If not, I'll be back soon. I had to tidy up. I have. You'll be shocked. Stand back and all that. I've also got me a new welder because the other welder was just, it's not very good. And I've got a bit of space now to work on the old rig. And I've sort of squared things up down in the corner. You know, down there. It's all squared up and minty, and we've got new suspension for the beast. Got new front leaf springs, new rear coils, coil mounts and brackets for the axle, these ones here, for the link arms on the axle. And we've got some bump stops and keeper plates and bolts, and we've got a fitting kit for the front leaves, and you know, the old rig will soon be able to all come together. We've got the receiver later hitch on the back here, and well, you'll probably see videos of the fiddle fuckery that's gone on and what's going to go on. And well, the next project is I've got this new welder later here, and I've got the old stick weld. That one does stick welding as well, but that's too good to get rid of, so we're going to make that fit as well. We're going to build a cart, and I found an axle, you know, like that, and found these bits of plate here. I'm going to cut them off because they fit over the axle nicely, and we've got this post here which is an old scrap bit of box that'll just do nicely for the job, and a bit of angle here so far, and that's where I've got to. So I'll continue doing a bit, and I'll video some of it, and you'll see a new welder cart come to life, boys. I tell you. Now a little build update for the beast. So I've chucked the bed frame back on there, and added a cross member across it here that I'm going to drill down through. There's going to be another bit of plate stick out the front of here in a couple of places with holes, and then straps will go underneath the tank and hold the tank in. So that'll sit in there, and have a bolt on the end of each strap so I can do them up nice and tight so that can't go anywhere. Will be minty. But today's project, because the big pile of suspension parts that was all down there is now not all down there anymore, so you might be able to figure what I'm fiddle fucking with today. I've made one leaf pack up already. I've got a brand new pair of KS International front springs, and well, I figured they wanted some beef, so I took the lower 3 leaves off a set of old rear leaf springs, and I'm now in the process of removing the ones off this old rear leaf spring to go on that new front spring. And then the front end will have nearly as much strength as the back. I've also took them mudguard hurdy-gurdies off. Not sure if they're going back on or not. They're kind of over there at the minute, contemplating life, but she's getting there. She is getting there. So we've got the 3 leaves there. I've gone across them with the wire wheel on the grinder later, just to give them a little bit of a clean up. We've got the new KS International spring here. I've sat it here upside down, taken the little single plate off, and obviously locating pin out of the middle of it. So I'm going to find somewhere you boys can probably see a little bit better what's going on. So now what we're going to do, prior to assembling our new leaf pack, custom leaf pack, I've got this pot of grease here, and I'm just going to, you know, you push the middle down, it comes out the middle and all that, and get a good old glob of it on the old brushlator, and just start from the middle and work your way out on the old leaf, you know, because leaf springs, they are a little bit notorious for being a rough ride. And half the reason people say leaf springs is a rough ride is because they're old fucking leaf springs and they're all rusty and gritty and stuff, and as they're flexing, the layers have to flex and rub against each other, and when they're all rusty they get stuck and then they're a harder ride. So then I'm going to take the longest of the three, which is this one, and I've got to work out which way round I've got to go with it. So I'm going to have to go and look at the other one and then come back and look at this one. So that's at that end. That's at that end. So the point where it's closest is the point we go with. Righto. Pick that back up. Get grease all over your hands because that's the best way to do this sort of job. And then we want a locating pin, which will be that one. Drop that through there, and then I've just got to sit it on here and see if it's the right way around, because sometimes little gap there, big gap there, might be. The other one worked out slightly closer one way than the other, yeah. So we've got to go this way round. We know that now. We just sit him on there, and then we're going to get the old paintbrush and pot of grease again. Get another decent glob of grease on the brush, and just work from the middle out. That's a messy old way of doing it, but then we get the next leaf, and we lay that on top there like that, and then before putting the last one on, we just get a little bit of grease, and only really need to go near the middle on this one because, well, you'll see. That's that. Put him back over there out the way so you don't get knocked over. Check what end this is going to. It's going to the opposite end to that. And then we drop that on there, something similar to that. Now it's the fun part of getting the locating pin through all of them. I started on this journey. It's not sure if it wants to go all the way yet or not, but we'll help it. We will help it. We've got helpful tools here. We've got the persuader. We've got a pair of these clampelators that I'm going to put on top of it to compress it all, and hopefully it will go in. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Sticking out the bottom yet? Yes. A big old glob of grease that we'll get rid of on a bit of rag that I had a minute ago, but it's now, you know, vanished. Because that's what things do when you put them down, they just vanish out of sight then, forever. Yep. And we're going to get that on the bottom of there, like that. And we're going to need the old molar grippers, you know, the battery terminal clamps of this variety, because it turns out this is battery terminal sized. We're going to clamplate them on there, and then we've got to flip all of this on the side. Quite heavy in this formation, I will let you know. get the ugly duggly gun. Hammer on there. Go until, you know, torque to yield. When it starts to yield, that's enough torque. Ow! Skin me knuckles. Minty. Right. They come straight off their necks. That's compressed right in. We just got the little, I don't know if you can see, we've got to put a bolt through, hey, this bit here, we've got to put a bolt through there, which is this one that helps keep everything sort of together and semi in line. So we'll see if the hole lines up. If it don't, we might just have to compress it a little. Oh, look at that, straight through there. That's like it was a made to measure one. Now, if we can find the end of the thread. Fred? Who's Fred? Where's Fred? What? Fred? God knows. That's tight, that ain't going to fall out in a hurry. So there we have it. One complete pair. Well, I've got to knock these little, I'll show you. I've got to knock them back around, but that's basically built. So you never know, by the end of the day I might even have a front axle under the old rig, and then we can wheel it out and get the proper axle in here that's got to go on the back of it and get the brackets fabricated onto it. That'll be some interesting fun. So update number 38.739. I've got the springs built up. There's one there and one down there. So the next stage is to get around here and remove the old bushes out of the chassis. You want to make sure you do it with some dry leaves and a bit of cardboard underneath, and use a camera tripod to hold the blowtorch. That way you can wander off and ignore it for a few hours. And when you come back, the bush won't be in there anymore. Follow me for more motoring tips. Well, 33 is mounted back onto it. Looks a lot more like a truck axle now anyway. So, from now, got to clear a bit of space under the front there. Chuck the other leaf pack under this side. And then we can get the old axle in. So, I've got the new bushes in the springs. The ones that goes in the chassis, these ones, well, they obviously let a retard in on the day they made these, and they've made them a millimetre too big so they don't fucking fit. All you got to do is just taper the edge a little bit all the way around, and then smash it with a fucking hammer, and then they go in, you see. So that's what I'm going to do here. I've got danger. But I will say, these are a lot closer to fitting, these leaf spring bushes are a lot closer to fitting than what trail alarm bushes ever are. So, I'll bring you boys down here. Can you see that going in there? That's going in, there's a hole there. That's where it's going. That, in there. Yeah, this thinks it's not, but I'm overconfident and I'm the one holding the fucking hammer, so, you know, arguments, there ain't none. Oh, nearly. Oh, we got an awkward one. This one's been made 2 millimetres too fucking big. You look at the hole shrunk. Hang on. I spat on it. You never know, boys. It might help. Tucked in past the tight holes. What? Go in there, you little sumbitch. So there you have it. if you spit on it, it'll go in the hole. Who'd have known? So I think we're going to have to do the same with this one here, and you know, make it be a different shape with the old danger machine. So she's got a bit of a bevel to her now as well, and we'll give her a little bit more greasage, because the greasage got knocked off by the angry. You got to make sure you put a little bit of grease on your bushes before trying to put them in, because then they go in the hole occasionally, allegedly. I'll put you boys back up here. I'm going to be working down here somewhere. More like there. And then we just kind of shoved it in with almighty force. So it turns out you only actually have to spit on one hole to make the access for both holes easier. Interesting. And that's in there like a brand new one. There ain't no arguments about that. So next up, well, I guess we've got to put the shackle in. So there's that. Oh, greasy finger here, look. Ugh. I'll smear a bit of that down inside the old bushelations, and then that might let that slide through a bit easier. These are greasable anyway, I've got grease nipples in the end of them, so don't worry, I haven't put the perfect amount of grease in yet, because they ain't staying on. I am going to take them all off and paint them. I just want to see how, at this stage, how the front end's going to look like it's going to sit. Well, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, let's put you pissers this side. So you'll see that there, because that's got that grease nipple. I've just hammered the end of them fully fucked. I don't want to fully fuck it too much more, otherwise, you know, it might end up having kids or something. So I'm going to put a sprocket over the end of that, and then I'm going to hammer on the socket. That's a chrome vanadium socket, which means you shouldn't hammer on them because they're not impact rated. But I have rated these chrome vanadium sockets that I've got myself, and they are fully impact rated. I think that wants to play games. And I think the games that wants to play involves me coming back in a minute with a bigger fucking hammer, because I'm getting angry with it. So I went and had a wank and came back with a bigger well, the options is a lot lesser than they were with this one, if you know what I mean. Well, no, you weren't asked to fall off, so don't do it. I'm not sure if that's going or not. Still got a long way to go to come out that end. Yep, that's all the way through as far as what that wants to go at the minute. So I'm going to go find the other half of the shackle, and then we'll get the leaf spring sort of mounted in there somehow. So I think that's what we're going to do. And for anyone wondering what shackles I'm using, they're an old set of Blood Red Offroad 2-inch lift shackles. Not even sure if Blood Red Offroad is still going. I am. Don't know why. Seems like a silly idea sometimes. But it's time to fiddle fuck this into place, so less talking, more fucking working. I'll get to it, and if you can't see, you just have to make up as you go along, you know. Just assume that I'm doing it all wrong. Because I probably am. Oh, Jesus. That's one heavy motherfucking leaf spring. Oh. Why? Why you be like this? I don't know, but you are. That's vaguely in place on that one, kind of nearly. Well, it's considering the notion of going. It just ain't certain whether it wants to yet or not. So we'll try and get the big old bolt what goes in the front here. We'll see if we can't fiddle fuck that through the hole and burr all the threads up on it. And then when we run the nut on and the nut just keeps turning, we're on a bead weld around the end of it to keep it tight. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it? No. Oh, really? Hang on, we've got to do some massaging. Because these bits down here, they've got to be splayed apart a little. There we are, that might fit now. You never know. You try. Well, I started in the hole at least. So let's see if we can smash that in there a little. And then we've got to smash that on there a little. And then we might be able to just mash that through there like that. See, like a brand new one. We'll do the old nut up fingulations tight, because as I say, it's all coming off again for paint, but I just need to get a view of how the axle sits under there and how level the chassis is going to sit, to know whether I've got to lift it more, lower it more, or fiddle fuck it more. And at this point, my suspicions are I'm just going to end up fiddle fucking the motherfucker until it's completely fiddle fucked. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But you never know until you try it, so I'm going to try it first. Well, boys, even I had my doubts that it was going to be anywhere near, but it's about as near as can get. I've got the front axle sat under there. She is literally sat under there. I've not made the spring perches up yet or anything, but yeah, she's going to be a big truck. She's going to be a big truck. I've seen cars with bonnets lower than the front of my chassis rails, and I ain't even kidding you. So the next things to figure out is going to be steering linkage, which I think I've got to build a Z-bar to get up to the steering box, which is going to be up here, but maybe lower, not sure yet. May chop the engine mounts off and drop them a little as well, just to lower the engine and box, give us a slightly lower centre of gravity and make the prop shaft angles better. But I think she's about fucking right. And she even sits level, front to back. Well, it looks like it's slanting forwards, it's not, it's your imagination. She sits level. She's fucking mint. Fuck. Oh well, I think at this point, it's time to call it a night, on account of the fact it's like nearly 9 o'clock. I've still got to shower and eat and sleep. And then there's work tomorrow again, which is interesting. So I'm going to pack all the tools up and do a little bit more fiddle fucking, but not too much. And I'll see you boys another day. Like, subscribe, and comment to tell me about how none of this is going to work. Now I don't know what I'm doing, because, yeah, you're right. I ain't got a fucking clue. But, probably doing better than what you'd do.